Hello, and welcome to another Camp Insights program of the week. I know in this case it's been a couple of weeks since I've done a program of the week, so it hasn't seemed exactly weekly, but I've been feeling a little under the weather, so um, whatever reason, we're back. We're going to start doing this as a weekly deal again. Okay, so today we're writing a fairly simple program. We're going to create a temperature, a table of temperatures that looks at degrees Celsius and degrees Fahrenheit, displays the degrees Celsius in one column, the degrees Fahrenheit in another column. Okay, may seem like a very simple program, but this is going to teach you some things about for loops in C++ and some things about writing very simple functions that take a value, convert it, and return a value. Okay, so we've got the pound include IO stream already. We're going to pound include IO manip because we want to be able to line up the values in columns again. Okay. And we're going to do our using namespace standard so that we don't have to have this standard : business everywhere. Okay. Now the first thing we want to do is print some column headings. I'm going to set width 10 for each column. And I'm going to print degrees C. And I'm going to set width 10 again. Degree F. Inline. Okay. Then I want to print a nice little line of dashes under that to separate the headings from the temperature numbers. Now I could see out and just start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 until I got 20 dashes, right? But A, that's not very elegant. B, it's annoying to count out all those numbers, all those dashes. And C, I might change my column headings at some point to be not quite, I might decide I don't need 10. Okay. So let's try writing a little for loop to do this for me. Okay. So for, yep. Here we go. Int I equals 0, I less than 20, I plus plus. That should give me exactly 20 C out, a single dash, and then at the end of that for loop, I'll C out an end line. Okay. Now let's pause for a moment, run this, and see if that does print our pretty little header as we intended it to. Well, we get the 20 dashes, but the things seem to be consuming an extra space. It looks like the degree symbol, the Unicode symbol that I used here, is counting as an extra character to C++. So I'm going to set these to width 11. Okay, it's kind of kludgy, but we'll see if it works. Yes, indeed, that works. Okay. So now we're going to print temperatures. We're going to do another for loop, but this time we want to count, let's say from -10, int C for Celsius equals -10. We want to go to C less than or equal to 40. And we want to count by fives. C plus equal 5. Okay. Now it seems like this is this is a pretty cool thing that you can do in C family languages: C, Java, C++, C Sharp, several others that build on the C family language that use this C for loop. There are other languages, some of the newer, easier to learn languages, I guess, like Python and Ruby, that are fairly fashionable languages right now, but they're not quite this powerful in terms of their for loops. A for loop in Python can only count by ones using the range function. Okay. But the C for loop, you can see, can start with a negative number, count to a positive number, count by fives. Pretty cool stuff. Okay. Now I'm going to C out, set with 10. I'm going to print my C. Okay. I'm going to set with 10 again, and I'm going to print what I call C to F of C. End line. Okay. Now, wait a minute. You say there's a built-in Celsius to Fahrenheit converter in C++? No, there isn't. And that's why my IDE here, Xcode, is yelling at me. It's saying there's an undeclared identifier C to F. That means we don't have that function built in, and we have to write it ourselves. So I'm going to copy the name of that function, come up here and paste it. Now, functions have to have a return value. This one, we're going to make it a double valued function because even if you take an integer and you convert it to Fahrenheit, it may not come out as an integer. Okay, it may have some decimal places to it. Okay, and we're going to take, as an argument, we're going to take a double temp C. Okay, because again, we might, in a future version of this program, like in a few minutes from now, decide that we want to count by something other than integer numbers, that we want to try 2.5 degrees C or something like that. Okay. Now we put in our curly braces to define the code block for this function. And we're going to say that temp F is equal to temp C times 1.8, that's the conversion factor, plus 32, because 0C is actually 32 Fahrenheit. Then we're going to say, now it's telling me this function does not return a value, so we need to remember to return temp F. Okay, and that completes the function. One of the nice things about writing code in an IDE like Xcode is that you do get these little reminders to make sure you write your code properly. Okay, that completes our function that converts the temperatures, and then down here, this completes our line of code that prints out the temperatures. So we should have a complete program. I'm going to put in a cout end line, put in an extra line space there just to make it look pretty. Okay, so I click go, and if I expand my output window down here, we see that we in fact get this nice pretty temperature table of temperatures. Now, in fact, it turns out that all of our degrees Fahrenheit did come back without any decimal places, because the 1.8 conversion factor is an even number there, okay? So that's pretty cool. We can see if you're an American and you're used to thinking in Fahrenheit, this table would help you if you go to a foreign country and they say the the forecast today is going to be between 5, a low of 5 and a high of 15, you could look here and say, oh, well, that's a low of 40-ish and a high of 60-ish, okay? And, that means, well, I'd want to wear long sleeves and maybe a jacket, okay? At least me being from Texas, I'd want to wear long sleeves and a jacket. Okay. What if we wanted more detail here? What if we wanted to see how far we had to go down to get 0 degrees Fahrenheit? Well, all we'd have to do is go to our for loop and change the starting temperature from -10 to -20, and then run the program again. And we see that -20 is actually -4 Fahrenheit, -15 is 5 Fahrenheit, so forth and so on. So 0 degrees Fahrenheit is somewhere between 20 and 15. What if we wanted a little more detail and we wanted to step by some other number? Well, C++ does not require that you count by integers. Okay, so we could turn this into a double, and we could count by 2.5. And that's going to give us a table that's twice as long, but it lets us zoom in on 0 degrees Fahrenheit is really very close to 17.5 degrees, -17.5 degrees Celsius. And this gives you more detail in case you want to say, well, we know 98.7 is about human body temperature, so 37.5 is just a little bit above human body temperature, which actually turns out to be exactly 37 in Celsius. Okay, so this teaches you a couple of things, how to write a function here that takes a value, converts that value, returns the converted value, okay? And it teaches you how to write for loops for a variety of purposes. This one prints dashes. This one gives you this one counts by something other than 1. It counts from a negative number to a positive number, and it calls the function that we wrote as part of the output statement. So all some important good things to know how to do in C++. All right, thank you very much for watching this video. Until next time, good luck and happy programming.